Welcome to this session. I'm Teacher Peter, and in this session, I'm going to take you through science. We've been looking at light, and in our previous lesson, we looked at light, defined the light, and we said light is a form of energy that enables us to see. We also went ahead and looked at how we can see objects, and we said that we can see objects when they reflect light to our eyes. We also looked at the different properties of light, and some of the properties of light we said light travels in a straight line, light forms shadows when obstructed, and many more. We also went ahead and looked at the importance of light in our daily life. We went ahead and looked at the sources of light. We said that we have the natural sources of light and we also have the artificial sources of light. So, today we are still continuing with our topic of light, and today in our topic of light, we are going to discuss about the luminous objects, the non-luminous objects, the incandescent objects, and then we are also going to see an experiment that shows that light travels in a straight line. Let's begin this session. We are saying that objects that produce light are divided majorly into two. We have the luminous objects and we also have the non-luminous objects. We can also call the non-luminous objects illuminated objects. The luminous objects. What are luminous objects? These are bodies which give off light on their own. These are bodies which give off light on their own. They are also referred to as direct sources of light. Let's look at the examples of luminous objects. The first example of a luminous object is the sun. Yes, the sun is a luminous object because it emits light on its own. Then the stars are also luminous objects because they emit light on their own. Then we have the glowworms. The glowworms are also luminous objects because they emit light on their own. Then we have the red hot charcoal, the charcoal that we use at home for cooking. Yes, this charcoal is also an example of a luminous object because it emits light when hot. Are we together? When you light the charcoal stove, yes, it emits light. Are we together? So, it is an example of a luminous object. Red hot charcoal is an example of a luminous object. Then we have erupting volcano. The volcanic mountains, when erupting, they are also examples of luminous objects. Then the fireflies, and then the torches. All of these are examples of luminous objects, meaning that they emit light on their own. Let's also go on and look at the non-luminous objects, or the ones that we are calling the illuminated objects. Let's spell the word illuminated. It is I-L-L-U-M-I-N-A-T-E-D. The word is illuminated. Yes, we can either call them the illuminated objects or the non-luminous objects. What are non-luminous objects? Yes, non-luminous objects are sources of light which do not produce light on their own but reflect light from another source. Non-luminous objects are sources of light which do not produce light on their own but reflect light from other sources. Let's look at the examples of non-luminous objects. We have the moon. The moon is an example of a non-luminous object. Are we together? The moon is not a luminous object, but it is a non-luminous object. Why do we call the moon a non-luminous object? It is a non-luminous object because for it just reflects light from the sun. It is not having a direct source of light. Yes, it only gets its light from the sun. So it reflects light from the sun. That's why it is referred to as a non-luminous object. Then we have the planets, like the Venus. Yes, these planets are also sources of light, but they are non-luminous. They don't have direct source of light. Are we together? So for them, they just reflect light from other sources. They reflect light from the sun. Then we have plane mirrors. Plane mirrors are also examples of non-luminous objects. Are we together? Let's go on and look at incandescent objects. What are incandescent objects? Incandescent objects, these are objects which emit light when they are hot. These are objects which emit light when they are hot. Examples of incandescent objects we have is the sun. Yes, the sun is an example of an incandescent object. Have you ever been under sunshine? Did you feel the heat? Yes, you felt the heat because the sun is hot. Are we together? So, we are saying that incandescent objects, these are objects which emit light when they are hot. When the sun is hot, it emits light. It gives off light. Are we together? We also have the hot filaments of electric bulbs. Yes, if you come into contact with a bulb, try to look at it closely. Inside the bulb, they are what we call the filaments. When they are already hot, they emit light, they give off light. Are we together? The filaments inside an electric bulb, they give off light when they are hot. Yes, then the stars in the skies, they are also examples of incandescent objects because they emit light when they are hot. Then the hot charcoal, yes, charcoal, the one you use for cooking. When it is hot, when you light the sigiri, the charcoal stove, when you light it, it emits light. Yes, the red charcoal emits light. So it is also an example of an incandescent object. Now let's go on and look at how light travels. Yesterday we looked at some of the properties of light and we said that light travels in all directions. Yes, we are saying that light travels in all directions from the source. Now take this as your source where I'm pointing right here using my cursor. Yes, if that is the source of light, then light will start now moving. If you switch on a bulb, light can spread in all directions. It can move in all directions, like the way you are seeing those arrows. Those arrows are representing the light rays that are moving in all directions. But what I want you to keep in your mind is that they move in all directions, but in a straight line. Let's go on to the second one and say that light travels in a straight line. Light travels in a straight line. Yes. Light traveling in a straight line, we can also call that the rectilinear propagation of light. I want you to take a close look at this diagram. We have the candle right here, and we have got also three cardboards here. These three cardboards have got holes on them. Are we together? And they have been placed parallel to each other. Are we together? This cardboard is parallel to this one, and this one is parallel to this one. Are we together? And when the observer, you the observer, if you are this side and you arrange these cardboards in a straight line and light the candle this side, you will be able to observe, you will be able to look through these lines, these holes, and you will be able to see the light this side. Meaning that light travels in a straight line. Now, if you do the contrary and you try to push this cardboard the other side, if you try to move one of the cardboards here, then take it away from the straight line, you will not be able to observe the light. You will not be able to see this light. The reason is light travels in a straight line. Are we together? So the viewer will receive light from the candle through the 3 holes arranged in a straight line. Conclusion: light travels in a straight line. Once we make this experiment and we are able to see light this side through these holes, we can conclude and say that light travels in a straight line. Are we together? Let's go on and also look at this picture here. We have an observer here, or the viewer, in picture A, and we have an observer or a viewer in picture B. What is this observer holding? He's holding a straight pipe. Yes, and what is this? This is a candle. So this observer here will be able to see this light here. Are we together? This observer will be able to see this light. Why? Because light travels in a straight line, and so if you place this pipe onto your eye and try to look at the light at the candle, you'll be able to see it. But look at this observer here. This observer is holding a bent pipe, and if he tries to look at the light from the candle, he cannot see the light from the candle. Why? Because light for it travels in a straight line. That is one of the properties of light. Are we together? So we are saying in picture A, the pipe is straight, so the viewer will be able to see light. While in picture B, the pipe is bent, hence the viewer will not be able to see the light. Is that clear? So how do we conclude? We conclude by saying that light travels in a straight line. Are we together? Let's look at the questions we have for today. Our first question says, what are luminous objects? Question number B says, identify any 2 examples of luminous objects. Number 3 says, in the space below, draw 2 artificial sources of light of your own choice. Question number 4, why is the moon not regarded as a natural source of light? Question number 5, what are incandescent objects? Question number 6, write down the use of light to plants. Question number 7, how is sunlight useful to our bodies? Then question number 8, write down 2 properties of light. Question number 9, list down 2 examples of non-luminous objects. Question number 10, identify any 2 objects that emit light when they are hot. Question number 11, describe the way you can see an object. And lastly, question number 12, Mr. Blake was going to office in the morning and he saw 2 bulls fighting. Which form of energy enabled him to see the bulls fighting? So, attempt these questions. You can pause your screen and attempt these questions. I also want you to go to the live worksheets. These very questions, I'm going to fix them on the live worksheets. And you can still go to the live worksheets and please do the work. I'll mark this when we come back for the face-to-face sessions. But for the live worksheets, I want to see it done right now. Okay, do that. We meet next time. Bye-bye.